The 2023 NBA Finals have commenced, and the overreactions are already flying. No, this will not be a sweep. The ensuing games in a playoff series hardly ever resemble or duplicate the previous game, especially in the NBA Finals. I still think that Vegas and ESPN's pathetic analytics crew, whoever was responsible for this, are still not giving the Heat the credit and the respect that they deserve. We're still just looking at them as an 8-seed team, it feels like, even though they went through the two championship favorites. In all honesty, going into the playoffs, Coach Spo is a wizard, and he will throw every defensive look in the book at this Nuggets offense. The Heat don't have a great matchup for Joker. Who does, though? They do have smart, capable defensive players everywhere and multiple schemes and just different looks that they can use to catch offenses off guard, even one that is powered by the best passer in basketball, arguably the highest IQ player in the league. So the Nuggets at home, they looked like the Nuggets at home. No sign of rust, no sign of nerves, right out the gate, got up 10 points, stretched it up to 20 at least once, had a couple scares, but maintained the lead until the finish in a game that could have been a lot more stressful for them. Final score was closer than the game generally was, but we have seen Miami wake up and make leads evaporate out of thin air in the span of like a couple minutes. Time and time again in this playoffs, the Nuggets established the other guys early, not putting pressure on Joker to do everything. In fact, he didn't want to shoot. He was looking to get guys involved, and that's how you saw Aaron Gordon get 12 early points, taking advantage of the size mismatch, as the Heat maintained that previous starting lineup with Caleb Martin and Jimmy Butler at the forward, so no Kevin Love, less size, and in result you see, this Heat team, they have been the smaller team in each of their previous series to this point, but taking Kevin Love out of the lineup last round made them tiny, which is something they were able to get away with against Tatum, Horford, Robert Williams, but didn't have to deal with the bully ball bruisers like an Aaron Gordon or the Joker, obviously. So how much we see Cody Zeller, Kevin Love will be very interesting. Zeller, 7 minutes, not a great performance, and Kevin Love did not sniff the basketball court in game one. And in this game, the Heat did a lot of what they usually do, getting down early and just staying attached throughout the game and giving themselves opportunities to seize momentum, but with a subpar game from Jimmy, it did look like at the end, they were kind of giving themselves a window to sneak back in like they did in Boston in game 6, but they didn't get that Jimmy to take over the game in the last 5 minutes. And while we're on the topic, Jimmy Butler, you've seen so many times he's trying to establish his teammates, not just in this game, but in general, early and often. And a lot of guys missed a lot of open shots. The offense was not flowing. And with the proficiency of Denver's offense, it is so important to be able to keep pace, to put a lot of points on the board, to stay in the game. They win by outscoring teams and not stopping teams. And so even though Jimmy did get inside a few times to create these looks, he wasn't putting enough pressure on the rim. Only 2 free throw attempts for the entire team. And the Heat need Jimmy to shoot 10 free throws in some of these games just to win. He's got to put his head down and just run through people. But unfortunately, we just haven't seen him be able to put that same level of force into his drives since getting hurt in that first game of the Knicks series. Like, we've seen some great moments here and there. He can take over games sometimes, but he definitely looked like a different player in that Bucks series before that injury, and we can see just more hesitance to go up in a crowd, to force contact than we had seen in that initial Bucks series. And so the second best Miami Heat player, Bam Adebayo, was a guy that the Celtics did a great job of taking out of games as that series progressed, but offense comes a lot easier for Bam when he's going up against a bigger guy with slower feet, a lot like he saw in those first 2 playoff series this season, and now here with Joker, a guy that teams want to go at anyway, not just because of the idea that he can't guard a pick and roll. We have seen Joker cover up his lapses in that department to a great degree in the playoffs, even though we have seen that a lot in his career, times during the season even. It's always smart still to make the guy try to play defense. Just get him to use as much energy on that end as possible. And when you have a guy like Bam that is capable of initiating offense and comfortable taking this amount of shots, which it's a lot of shots, that is a place that they can get offense. And so the Heat role players, this whole thing, it doesn't work without them, and they will be better next game. Caleb Martin and Max Strus, complete disaster, in addition to a bad Duncan Robinson game. Gabe Vincent and Kyle Lowry had some good moments, and Haywood Highsmith, has shown that he's capable, he's ready for any stage, he contributes on both ends, played a lot of minutes last night. And so yes, Jimmy Butler has to be better, but when a team can delegate responsibility like Miami does to 5 guys on the court at all times and maintain trust in ball movement and any player on the court to shoot, they always give themselves a chance to stay in games, and they don't give a chance to opposing defenders to relax. Jamal Murray looked great last night, and that's a big problem for Miami if he's going to shoot the lights out every single game, because we know Joker is going to dominate in some fashion. You can take away his passing, you can take away his scoring, but you can't take away both. And they took away his scoring in the first game, but it didn't matter because he was dropping dimes all over the court. The offense looked like a well-oiled machine with everybody contributing. Keeping Murray under control has to be as major of a focal point for Miami as there is, because he's the guy that can waver a little bit more. He can be a little hot and cold at times, even if he's been mostly hot throughout this postseason. There isn't a deadlier two-man action in the league than Joker and Murray screen and rolls. We saw a lot of that, just play and catch. And any team is going to have trouble when you have to guard those two guys just forcing bad shots. But I feel like the Heat defensive scheme, throwing a lot of different looks, mixing in some zone here and there, just trying to catch that offense off guard, I give them a better chance at making things tough on that duo. But despite all of the Heat heroics throughout this postseason, this is the first time they have trailed in a series this year. Crazy stat. This is the first game won, they didn't win. But it isn't like this situation is foreign to them. This is still the more experienced team with the more experienced coach, and one game is just one game. They still have a chance to take home court next game, and we're going to see a more aggressive Jimmy Butler. We're going to see a more accurate three-point performance from the other guys because of it. This still might not mean that they win, but even if things go off the rails, they'll undoubtedly get one. I think they'll get at least 2, especially with Tyler Hero's impending return being something that could shake up the series. So, guys, it's just the beginning. Don't overreact. Don't say, oh, this thing's over already. We've seen this movie a million times. It's easy to be fooled. We know Coach Spo's got a million tricks up his sleeve. We're going to see some different stuff game in, game out, and I'm excited. There will not be a sweep in this year's NBA Finals. Let me know what your guys' predictions are down below. That's going to do it. Bucketology. Peace.